Good morning students. We had studied chapter number 2, constitutional design. In the previous lecture we had studied about what is constitution, what is the need of constitution, and I gave you a simple example of South Africa where there was a problem of apartheid and how Nelson Mandela, becoming a leader, fought for the rights of the blacks. Here is Nelson Mandela who fought for the problems which were faced by the blacks. Now, here is a short description of Nelson Mandela, most able, efficient and far-sighted leader of African National Congress. Fought against apartheid during white South African government. Spent 28 years in prison from 1964 to 1992. Dreaded prison, Robben Island. So this is a short description of Nelson Mandela, that he was an able and efficient leader and he fought against apartheid when there was an African government of white people. And for this he spent 28 years in prison. And where was the prison? It was in Robben Island. Then we come to struggle against apartheid. Apartheid is a problem. It is a differentiation on the basis of skin color. During 18th and 19th century, Europe occupied South Africa. Settled there, applied system of apartheid which divided country into three groups. Now I firstly said that apartheid is a differentiation on the basis of skin color. So we have white, black and colored. The colored people had been migrated from India. Now apartheid, the definition, a simple definition of apartheid can be a system of racial discrimination unique to South Africa. Racial discrimination means on the basis of skin color. Oppressive system for the black. Now what were the restrictions which were made for these black by the white government? Blacks were segregated, separated by, forbidden from living in white areas. They were not allowed to go in the white areas. Could work in white areas if had permit. Means if the white provided permission to them, then only the black could work on those areas. Discriminated while using public properties. If they were using any public property, they were differentiated, they were discriminated. Black could not visit church where white worshipped, form association and protest. And blacks were not allowed to visit churches where the whites worshipped. Then come the African National Congress. Since 1950, blacks, colored and Indians fought against this system, including workers' union, communist and sensitive whites joined them. In 1964, Nelson Mandela and 7 other leaders were sentenced to life imprisonment. Why Nelson Mandela and 7 members were imprisoned? Just because they were fighting for the problem of apartheid, they were fighting for the rights of the blacks. But the white racist government continued to rule by torturing and killing thousands of black and colored. Now when the blacks started protesting against these white, what the white racist government did? He started torturing people, killing them. Protest increased, the racist government realized that they could not longer keep under the black under repression. Now as the protest increased, the white realized that the black would not be under the repression, so they leaned down. Racist government changed their policies. Now seeing the protest and seeing the fights which were done by the blacks against the whites, what the racist government did? They changed their policies. Discriminatory laws were repealed. Now those laws which were made discrimination, which created discrimination between blacks and whites were repealed, they were replenished. Ban on political parties and restriction on the media were lifted. Now whatever ban on the political parties or whatever ban was done on the media was lifted, was overruled. Nelson Mandela was released from jail after 28 years of imprisonment. Now Nelson Mandela suffered 28 years of imprisonment and after 28 years he was released from the jail. Now towards a new constitution. When the blacks started fighting against the rights, what happened? That they started moving towards a new constitution. At the midnight of 26th April 1994, the Republic of South Africa was born. Republic of South Africa means a new constitution came into existence which would give rights to black as well as the whites. The black forgave the whites. Both the blacks and whites decided to build a new essay based on equality of all races of democratic values, social justice and human rights. Now what did these black people, when they saw that the whites are realizing their mistake, the blacks forgive them, and the blacks and whites, they decided that they should make some laws, they should make some rights, so that it can qualify social justice, human rights and democratic values. After 2 years discussion and debates, they draw a common constitution and gave to its citizens the most extensive rights available in any country. But after 2 years, there was 2 years of discussion and debates between the blacks and whites, and after that they came to a solution that a constitution should be made so that they can be provided rights equal to the whites. Now the preamble of South Africa. We the people of South Africa recognize the injustice of our past, honor those who suffered for justice and freedom in our land, respect those who have worked to build and develop our country, and believe that South Africa belongs to all who live in it. United in our diversity, we therefore through our freely elected representatives adopt that constitution as supreme law of the republic so as to. So as we have preamble of India, there was also a constitution was made and a preamble of South Africa was created. By this, the people should abide by the laws of the constitution. They should be given equal rights. Then we come to that how constitution came into existence. Now seeing the example of South Africa, what happened that India also started thinking about making a constitution, and whatever was decided together, they decided that nobody should be excluded, means everyone should have their participation. No one should be treated as a demon, means no one should be treated unequal, but everyone is equal before law. Agreed that everybody should become part of solution, means if any discussion, if any debate is going on, then everyone is going to be a part of the solution. It inspired democrats all over the world. Now in this constitution, what happened that it inspired the democrats. Whatever the democrats were there, they started inspiring them. Then we come to constitution, that how the constitution of India was made. Now constitution is simple definition I can give, a written law which is abided by all the people, means the written law which are made for the people and which are followed by all the people. Constitution, the supreme law of a country containing fundamental rules governing the policy and society in a country. So here this is a supreme law which has some fundamental rules which governs the society as well as the country. Now what is the importance of constitution? Why do we need constitution? First of all, their point is trust and coordination. Now as we all know that India is a huge and a diverse country. So making all the people together with we have people with different races, different religion, different castes. So making the people together, we need some trust and coordination, and this can only be created by the constitution. Specification specifies how the government will be constituted, who will have power to which decision. Now if there was specification that which power should have which decision, means which right they should be provided or which power they should be given. Rights and duties limits the power of government and the rights of the citizen. Now what is that? The constitution give you the limits of the government, that the government cannot rule on its own. They have to rule the country on the basis of constitution and tell the rights of the citizen. Good society, expressing the aspiration of the people about creating good society, means they should inculcate some moral values, some feelings, so that people can create a good society living together. Now this is the map of India. Here we have the 7 countries, that is British India when British rule was going on. That was Afghanistan, China, Nepal, Bhutan in the 1945, and this is in 1947 when our India was divided into 27 states and 7 union territories. Now making of Indian constitution difficult and certain task. Now what the problems were while making Indian constitution. Now I firstly said that India was a huge and a diverse constitution. So making or bringing all the people together and making a constitution was very problematic. So the country was divided on the basis of religious differences. We had people of Hindus also, we had Muslims also, we had Sikhs also. So the country was divided on the basis of religious differences. The merger of princely states with India or Pakistan or remain independent was difficult to decide. Now what was the problem? That the princely states, they could merge with India, or Pakistan or remain independent. So what was the problem? This decision was very problematic. The future of the country was seen not much secure to make constitution. Means seeing the state of the country, seeing the position of the country, it was not secure to make a constitution and bring all the people together. The path to constitution. Now how constitution made and how it was came into existence. In 1928, drafted constitution for India by Motilal Nehru and 8 other Congress leaders. So in 1928, Constitution of India was drafted by Motilal Nehru as the leader and the others Congress leaders. Then in 1931, resolution at Karachi on how independence India constitution should look like with the following features. So in 1931 at the Karachi session, a resolution was made that how a constitution should look like and what the features should it include. The features was universal adult franchise, that is the right to vote, that for females it was 18 years, for male it was 21 years. So universal adult franchise, that every person who is above 18 years or 21 years had the right to vote. Then right to freedom and equality, means all the people were considered equal and they had the freedom. To protect the rights of minorities, means those which are minorities, their rights also should be protected by the constitution. Many educated Indians were familiarized with the political and legislative institution during the colonial British rule. Now during the British rule, we know that many educated Indians who got education the best, they knew about these legislative and political institutions very well, because they were educated, so they knew very well about the legislative and political institutions. Years of thinking and deliberation on the framework of the constitution had another benefit. So this was the benefit of making a constitution, that years of thinking, means they were very educated Indians who knew that by making the constitution, country can be made a safe country or a secure country. Many of the leaders were inspired of the ideals of the French Revolution. Whatever the French Revolution, whatever the ideas, whatever the spirits were given by the French Revolution, these people, these leaders were inspired by the ideas. The Socialist Revolution in Russia. We had French Revolution, we had Russian Socialist Revolution in Russia also. This were inspired. The practice of parliamentary democracy of Britain. Now parliamentary democracy means by the people, of the people and for the people. So here we had the practice of parliamentary democracy of Britain. The Bill of Rights in US, but they didn't simply imitate these principles. The Bill of Rights in US also, but they do not imitate or they do not give these principles. So all these things inspired the leaders to make the constitution. Now the Constituent Assembly. In 1946, the Constituent Assembly was made. The drafting of the constitution was done by an assembly of elected representatives called the Constituent Assembly. Means a drafting representatives together drafting the constitution was called as a Constituent Assembly. And how many members did the Constituent Assembly had? They had 299 members. Keeping the following points in mind. First, universal adult franchise, as I firstly said. Right to freedom, equality and to protect the rights of minorities. These points we all have discussed in the previous one. The assembly was dominated by the Indian National Congress, has many non-Congress members. Now what happened? That the Constituent Assembly, it was dominated by the Indian Nationalist Congress. The people who made the Indian National Congress, they dominated the assembly. And it also had non-Congress leaders also. They were not a part of Congress. The constitution doesn't reflect the views of its member alone, it expresses the aspiration of all people. Means we do not have to see that constitution, if the Constituent Assembly is making the constitution, then only their rights or their problems, their views are going to be seen, but the constitution should see the views of all the people of the country. Now the elections to the constitution. We have discussed the constitution, what is the need of constitution, how it is made, what problems do we face. Now we see that how the elections to the constitution were done. Elections to the Constituent Assembly were held in July 1946 and its first meeting in December 1946. So the members of the Constituent Assembly were elected firstly in 1946 and its first meeting was done in December 1946. Afterwards, the country was divided into India and Pakistan. After 1947, there was division between India and Pakistan. The Constituent Assembly that wrote the Indian Constitution had 299 members. So, Constituent Assembly consisted of 299 members and they had written the Constitution. A drafting committee chaired by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar prepared a draft constitution for discussion. Now what B.R. Ambedkar did, he drafted a constitution for discussion, that these points should be given in mind. It was discussed clause by clause through several rounds of discussions. Means there were several discussions and by round they were discussing them. The Assembly adopted the Constitution on 26th November 1949 and came into effect on 26th January 1950. So the Constitution was adopted in 26th November 1949 and it came into existence on 26th January 1950. Now why should we accept this Constitution? We saw the Constitution, the need of Constitution, how it is elected, what are the problems. We will see now that why should we accept the Constitution, why is a Constitution necessary for a country. Over the last 64 years, no large social group or political party has ever questioned the legitimacy of a Constitution. Means from the time we have made a Constitution, no political party or no superpower has made a question against the legitimacy of the Constitution. Constituent Assembly represented the people of India, no universal adult franchisee, but fair geographical share of members from all the regions of the country. Means not only a member of one region, but from the different regions of the country were given, and they represented the people of India, who the Constituent Assembly. Assembly represented members from different language groups, caste, classes, religion and occupation. Means the 299 members of Constituent Assembly were people of different religions, different caste, different regions, different occupation and different classes. Means no dissimilarity or no differentiation was being done. Finally, the Constituent Assembly worked in a systematic, open and consensual manner. So, the Constituent Assembly, what it did, it worked in a systematic manner, in open and consensual manner. Indian Constitution. Now, if we are talking about Constitution, we will describe about Indian Constitution. More than 2000 amendments were considered. Means more than 2000 amendments were made under this Constitution. The members deliberated for 114 days, spread over 3 years. Now what the members did, they deliberated for 114 days, spread over 3 years. Every document and word spoken in Constituent Assembly has been recorded and preserved, which is called Constituent Assembly debate. Means whatever talk or whatever discussion, whatever debate has been done in the Constituent Assembly is being recorded and is named as the Constituent Assembly debate. These debates provide are 12 bulky volumes. So there are 12 bulky volumes of these Constituent Assembly debates. Now what are the guiding values of the Indian Constitution? We can understand the Constitution of India through two ways. By reading the views of some of the major leaders on Constitution, that there were some major leaders who gave different views on this Constitution. For by reading this, we can see that what can be the guiding values of the Constitution. And secondly, by understanding what the Constitution says about its own philosophy. Means its own philosophy, its own manner, what the Constitution says, we can understand the guiding values by it. Then we have the dreams and promises. Mahatma Gandhi in his magazine Young India in 1931 spelled out what he wanted the Constitution to do. Now Mahatma Gandhi had made a book, that is Young India, in 1931. In this he wanted that what a Constitution actually should do, what the government, what the power should do. B.R. Ambedkar criticized Mahatma Gandhi and his vision. Now B.R. Ambedkar did not like the vision of Mahatma Gandhi. He criticized him. Jawaharlal Nehru gave speech on midnight of August 15, 1947. He stated, when the world sleep, India will awake to life and freedom. Means when all the people will sleep, India will come into freedom. On 15th August of 1947 midnight, Jawaharlal Nehru gave a speech on this. Freedom and power brings responsibilities. Service of India means service of the millions who suffer. Means if you are serving India, it means the service of all those people who have dedicated their life for the country. The ambition of the greatest men of a generation has been to wipe every tear from every eye. Means all the people, all this person have to think that they should wipe tear from every eye. Now we have the preamble. The Constitution begins with a short statement of its basic values. This is called the preamble of the Constitution. We firstly saw the preamble of the South Africa. This is the preamble of We the People of India. This is the preamble of Constitution. Constitution of India. Very long and detailed document. It is a very long and a detailed document. A document which is given in very detailed sense. Amended quite regularly to keep updated. Means it is quietly amended. It is regularly amended so that they can get a quick update. It lays down a procedure for choosing person to govern the country, that what person should govern, person should given be what power to govern the country. Defines who will how much power to take decisions. Means which person or which jurisdiction will take how much power to decide. Put limits to what the government can do by providing some right to the citizen that cannot be violated. Some rights to the citizens should be given so that the government can do, and they should be put a limit on it. Thank you.